we've really not had a growth and innovation agenda in our country, again, I would argue, for a decade plus. And the innovation and growth agenda that most policymakers roll out is pretty stale. It kind of is a very 90-ish mindset, I think. It is, let's do more R&D, let's give our universities more money, let's do immigration reform, all important items. But I really think we need to kind of brush that off and add and clarify a true innovation and growth agenda. I think it's going to have to be not only those 90s ideas, but I think it's really going to have to be about intellectual property protection. I think it's going to have to be around how we can do policies both policy-wise and tax policy-wise that kind of regenerates focus on early-stage capital and true startup efforts. I think we're going to have to, and let me quickly say, I do not support industrial policy, but I do think we need to identify areas as a nation where we hope to remain competitive on a long-term basis. Let me give you 3 or 4 examples of that, and again, then we'll turn to questions. One is, and it's not very sexy, I know, but what has always been an American competitive advantage over most of the 20th century has now turned into American competitive disadvantage, is infrastructure. And how we finance infrastructure in this country versus how it's financed in Europe and Asia and around the rest of the world, we are at least a decade behind, if not more, in terms of public-private collaboration on infrastructure finance. Desperately overdue for a fresh look. Number 2, manufacturing. I think it has kind of became a rule of thumb that manufacturing in America, well, we were going to replace it with technology, we were going to replace it with other types of innovation, and that was a casualty of a knowledge-based economy. I think that needs to be rethought, and let me acknowledge that perhaps I was even one of those that said, paid lip service to manufacturing, but really didn't know whether we could continue in this country. I think the example of Germany, particularly post the last 3 or 4 years, Germany that has higher wages and higher taxes than America, yet has led its way out of this worldwide recession through manufacturing and export, that we have lessons that we can learn from Germany and other advanced manufacturing nations around the world. Third, and this is an area where I think the administration has moved forward, but we need more juice behind it, is, export has to become a higher priority for all of American companies. And we've had the luxury of not having to export because our domestic market is large enough. That luxury is gone. We've got 1 billion Chinese and 1 billion Indians that want our jobs, but they also want to buy our stuff. And how we do a better job of using technology and tools to educate small to mid-sized companies on export opportunities has to be a higher priority.